speak through Fox News and let the independents who are tuning into you, let them know what it is that she stands for, the principles behind her positions.
It used to be that new candidates were advised to brush up on the issues so they could handle questions from anyone, even tough questions. The idea behind that was that it prepared you also for actually governing. But now the advice to candidates is only to talk to sympathetic reporters.
We need to start now by electing strong leaders who aren't afraid to shake it up. We need strong, principled leaders, public servants who respect our Constitution.
We need clarity. We deserve answers, so we don't ask the same questions tomorrow.
Good night, Lon.
Later, Sarah Palin's taste in tweets. She called this one her favorite, then took down all the favorites from her site. Now she's telling ABC News she never purposely favorited anything, that it was an accident. As you'll see, there were plenty of other accidents on her page. We'll discuss the story that just occurred a short time ago. Here's what happened. Sarah Palin is obviously a big user of Twitter. Tonight, she's caused a stir with a tweet sent to her that she favorited. Here's Palin's Twitter page. She has no favorite tweets listed. But that's because it's been wiped clean. This is what her page looked like last week. And then she did have a number of favorites cited. The top tweet on her favorites list is one by Ann Coulter. Coulter's tweet says, "My new church, standing in front of Pastor Manning's church. Look at this sign with an exclamation point at the end of that word." This is the sign she's referring to that was posted outside the Atla World Missionary Church in Harlem, New York. The message reads, "The blood of Jesus against Obama. History made 4 November 2008. A Taliban Muslim illegally elected President USA Hussein." The head of the church is a pastor named James David Manning. In the past, he's called candidate Obama a liar, a pimp, and trash. Palin's favoriting of the tweet has been picked up by a number of news organizations, and we reached out to her office tonight, but nobody responded. However, Palin told ABC News that she never purposefully favorited any tweet, that it was obviously an accidental favoriting, and that she has had to check her BlackBerry to see if favoriting function was even possible. But then the question is, how does she explain all those other favorites that used to be on her Twitter page? An October Vanity Fair article about Palin referred to Rebecca Mansour, staffer at Sarah PAC, who insisted to a reporter that anything that goes out on Twitter under Palin's name is in fact from Palin. So let's talk to the man who started all this, Mark Lamont Hill, a professor at Columbia University, who took the photo of that sign and tweeted it to Ann Coulter. You did this basically as a joke. I guess you have, what, some running thing with Ann Coulter?
Yeah, there's like one thing in the world that Ann Coulter and I agree on, and that's that Pastor Manning is nuts. And one of the things we do is we make jokes about Pastor Manning. And so I happened to be walking through Harlem, and I took a picture of the church and sent it to her because the sign was obviously absurd. It was obviously xenophobic. There were all these bad things about it. And I sent it to Ann, and we were both laughing about how absurd the church is and how absurd the sign was. And then, lo and behold, Sarah Palin favorites it.
So
Sarah Palin, however, wasn't in on the joke.
She retweeted basically the picture saying this is her new favorite church. So she's obviously saying that tongue-in-cheek. I mean, she says a lot of outrageous things, but she does have a sense of humor, and clearly there's a sense of humor in that tweet. Then it gets on Sarah Palin's favorite list. We don't know if it was put on that list because of Sarah Palin thought it was funny, or somebody in Sarah Palin's group thought it was funny, or didn't get the joke. I mean, just to be completely fair, we have no idea why it was put on there.
Right. We don't know what Sarah Palin was thinking. I mean, do we ever know what Sarah Palin's thinking? But it's safe to say she wasn't in on the joke because I had no communication with Sarah Palin about the joke. Sarah Palin insists that everything that comes through Facebook, everything that comes through Twitter is directly through her and from her, not from a handler. So at the very least, we know she's the one who did it based on her own words.
And they've clearly now taken that off the page. So clearly somebody who controls that page has a sense that we should just take this off. It's not a good idea.
That's exactly right. But I suspect that, Sarah Palin probably just thought it was funny because it was addressed at President Obama. Sarah Palin's made developed so much power, by playing to the xenophobic wing of the Republican Party, by playing to the Tea Party membership, which has a xenophobic sector in it. So it would make sense for her to do this, not just as an inside joke, but as a way of stirring up her base and staying in touch with the base that preys upon people who are seen as outsiders.
All right, Mark Lamont Hill, I appreciate your time. We're trying to clear this thing up.
She's extra sassy these days, too. Yeah. She's winning. All her mama Grizzlies are winning. And they're busting through that glass ceiling. And the mama Grizzlies are going to Washington, and they're going to flip your picnic table, Dave. You know what I noticed on Fox News last night, though, is on Fox News, they address her as Governor Palin, which is like calling me Dairy Queen employee. I was once. that quick.
That's right.
There is that point there that somehow Sarah Palin forgets. Oh, well.
Seriously, about 2012,
right,
she raised money.
Mike, here's the only problem with that.
Yeah.
The only problem with it is that there were some candidates that she endorsed that won.
Yeah.
But that grizzly bear that she showed would have drawn more votes than Joe Miller in Alaska. The grizzly probably would have done much better than Christine O'Donnell in Delaware. Her endorsement of Christine O'Donnell at the end cost the Republicans a seat in the United States Senate. That is not an opinion. That is an objective fact. And you can say the same thing about Nevada. Sharon Engel in Nevada cost Republicans a seat there. So this talk about you could do another video talking about the reckless endorsements she made that cost Republicans seats in the Senate.
No, that's absolutely true, and there's a lot of talk among Republicans about the fact that they easily could have a tie. They were very, very close to having a 50-50 Senate, and it's because of the Tea Party, it's because of Sarah Palin that may have cost that 50-50 tie.
I'm not just picking on Sarah Palin here, because if Sarah Palin, I'm glad she got out, and everybody has a right to get out and get engaged, so I salute her for doing that. But if you're going to go out and brag about all the great things that you did, the day after your candidate lost in your home state where you were the governor, I know they're doing a recount, but her candidate lost in Alaska to somebody that did a write-in candidacy at the end. That is as humiliating of a loss as even Sarah Palin's worst critic could imagine.
Right, and when you add it up and when you realize that majority or a tie was within reach for Republicans.
All right, Mike Allen, thanks so much. Joe, a quote you'll like in the Politico piece from Lindsey Graham. Candidates matter. It was a good night for Republicans, but it could have been a better one. We left some on the table. If you think what happened in Delaware is a win for the Republican Party, then we don't have a snowball's chance to win the White House.
Exactly. If that's how people are thinking, they don't understand what it takes to build a national party. You wrote about this in the Daily Beat.
We did, but to get just back to Palin for one moment, don't you think that one of the problems that her candidates, her grizzlies, didn't all rise up on their hind legs as she said they would, is because she was so careless, in a sense, in the choice of who she endorsed. It's a bit like her own record, where she thinks that a lack of intellectual content is okay. It actually isn't okay. And as you saw with Engel, she turned out to be a wacky candidate, and she said she spent that entire Harry Reid campaign saying that he should be retired, but this candidate couldn't do it.
Listen, there is no doubt that given stronger candidates, no doubt in the world, Republicans would have won Delaware. Yeah. They had the guy. Republicans would have won Colorado.
Nevada.
Republicans would have won Nevada. Republicans would have won outright Alaska. That is 4 seats.
Yeah.
4 seats that would have put them in charge. So while people are patting themselves on the back, understand you just made Pat Leahy chairman of the Judiciary Committee for another 2 years, and if that's something you want to make a commercial about,
and a big old bear growling,
you don't think like most political strategists and actually conservatives that want Republicans to be the national party again. But go ahead, celebrate screwing us on 4 different races. Be proud of yourself. Way to go.
That bear's
Put that one on Facebook.
We have a great scorecard on the beat.
Suppose Senator John Doe puts forth a constitutional amendment that would outlaw abortion, even in cases of rape or incest, and he asked you to attend the announcement and support him in that. Would you do it?
I would. Yes, a proposal like that, I would stand by it.
Let's be completely clear about the facts here. There is no place in the world and no time in history where restricting women's reproductive rights makes a people or a nation more free or more equal. These extreme positions on abortion are, without any question, a war on American girls and women, and the fact that there are women who are both complicit and participatory in it is really neither surprising nor unprecedented. It has always been true, and it is incredibly important that we recognize that despite the fact that we can be very proud of these women as women and as politicians that the question is, how do women as citizens fare on the other side of them either being elected or not elected?